Welcome to the Do Zone, where entrepreneurs go to get things done. I'm your host, Josh Thomas. You can find me on all social media at JT Literally. Each week, I bring on experts from a variety of backgrounds to share their secrets on how to optimize performance so you can take massive action and crush your goals. The Do Zone is sponsored by Fast Track Funnels, the new way to bring in consistent daily sales for your business in 2025 without cold outreach or burning cash on ads. We used this method with a brand new business to generate more than $100,000 cash collected in less than 30 days. Download the free step-by-step blueprint that shows exactly how we did it at getconversions.net. Once again, that's getconversions.net. Today's guest is Christian Espinosa. He is the founder and CEO of Blue Goat Cyber, a leading cybersecurity authority and recognized medical device security expert. He's driving significant advancements that prioritize patient safety and data integrity, embodying a proactive and innovative approach to his work. As author of The Smartest Person in the Room and The In-Between, Life in the Micro, Christian boldly shares his evolution from competitive to compassionate leadership. Christian, welcome to the Do Zone. Tell us something you believe is the key to getting stuff done that most people wouldn't think of.
I believe the key to getting things done is what I call monotasking. That is the antithesis of multitasking, which I think is counterproductive and BS. Monotasking is doing something with extreme focus for maybe an hour at a time or whatever time limit you want to put on it, but that's all you do. You turn off your phone, you don't do anything but that one thing. And for me, when I'm able to focus on one thing, I can make way much more progress than constantly responding to everybody else's demands. So monotasking, yes.
Monotasking, a man after my own heart, right there. That is the only way to be because multitasking is actually proven to be a myth. It's not
Mhm.
even possible. Secondly, trying to do it can lead to brain damage. And the idea here, and this is why, is there's this concept of what's called task switching. Are you
Mhm.
familiar with this? Yeah. So
Context switching, yes.
yeah, and basically the way to describe it is imagine you're in a factory and you got this machine on the right, machine on the left. And in order to operate the machine on the left, you have to turn off all the levers on the machine on the right and then turn on all the levers on the machine on the left. And you have to do that every time you switch. That's what's
Yeah.
happening in your brain.
Yeah. It
That's why you
also
get brain damage.
causes a lot of anxiety too, and a
Yeah.
lot of mistakes. If you're bringing things from one task into another one, it's like you said, I think it causes brain damage. But we've been brainwashed to think it's a good thing, multitasking. It's crazy.
Yeah. And so what are some ways so I think we get this as entrepreneurs. We got a monotask. But what
Mhm.
are some ways that we expand that out to our team so that we can spread the idea of monotasking to our team? Like I'm curious because you're a guy that's grown several companies and you got a successful business here. How do you help your team stay focused?
I think part of it is the culture. For me, I'm not very patient, and as the leader of my company, sometimes if I want an answer, I want it like immediately. But then I also have to realize, oh, wait a minute. If I'm advocating monotasking and this person I want to answer from is in a time block doing something, I can wait on that answer. So I think a lot of it is enforcing that culture and trying to grow that culture and say, it's okay not to respond to a Slack message while you're working on something with concentrated effort. It's okay not to respond to a text message. It's okay not to respond to email. So it's really setting that culture from the leadership. I think is important.
Teaching them that they won't get fired if they push back.
Yeah,
That's
essentially,
the
yes.
guilty of the same thing, man. It's like Karen is my executive assistant. Karen, what can you tell me about this thing over here? And she's like, and they're like, wait, what are you doing right now? I'm doing this other thing you told me to do this morning. Just ignore me. It's fine. Like, I got to get my ADHD brain and I got to focus.
Yeah, I mean, if we know it's valuable, we should expect that other people that are on our team, we should allow them to do it, and because we know it's valuable as well. So yeah, it's something I still struggle with because I always want answers quickly from people, but I realize, what am I doing here? I'm making them counterproductive.
And so, one thing that I'm really curious about, Christian, is a topic that you like to discuss is the human element of cybersecurity. And you say that you actually need to be solving a people problem. And that creates a little bit of cognitive dissonance for me. I don't know if I'm task switching too much, but
Mhm.
there's definitely some intrigue to that statement. So I'd like to have you unpack that a little bit.
That statement comes from my first cybersecurity company, and I think a large challenge in the industry. In cybersecurity, most people get their significance by being, quote, smarter than other people, at least intellectually smarter. And when you're always trying to be smarter than someone, you're going to talk over their head because if they don't understand you, then you must be smarter than them. You're going to look for opportunities to interrupt somebody and say, well, that's not right. This is how it is. So this culture, this like pretending we're smarter than other people in cybersecurity is hindering the industry. And that's what I mean by that. We need to bring the emotional intelligence level up, raise that to an already a pretty high IQ level. And if we do that, I think a lot of these challenges in cybersecurity will fall away because there's constant memes about this. There's constant shows about this, about the cybersecurity person just talking in a way that nobody understands it. And if nobody understands what we're talking about, how are they going to actually protect their environment or improve? It's like a
Yeah,
ridiculous scenario we're in.
even the smartest people in the world appreciate when you don't make them think so hard.
100%.
And so it's interesting that, I think in certain respects, everything is a people problem because people are the ones that have to deal with it. People are the ones that have to suffer the consequences or reap the rewards. And I had never really thought about cybersecurity as a people problem, but people are creating cyber attacks, and
Mhm.
people are leaving uh, their IT vulnerable to cyber attacks because of that lack of understanding, because of that lack of effort, because of the like, that sounds hard. I'm just gonna stay over here and just like hope that it doesn't happen to me.
Yeah, and this became clear to me in my first company when one of my highly technical engineers was debriefing me about how a report review session went with a client. And he kept saying that the client just didn't understand, that they didn't get it. And I'm thinking, here we are trying to communicate all the holes into that client's network, and we're not doing it in an effective manner. So I'm like, what am I doing running a business where my clients are not understanding what we're telling them? And if they don't understand, they're not going to get any better. So what's the whole point with this exercise? So that when I, that kind of like hit me pretty hard when I heard that, and I worked really hard to fix that in my organization because I'm a believer that the meaning of communication is the response you get. So if you're not getting the desired response, the ownership shifts back to you to
Mm,
alter how you communicate. And we often just blame the other person. That's like human
mm,
nature versus maybe I should try to communicate in a way differently. Maybe I should look at the world through their perspective.
mm. Yeah, everything that I've always been a subscriber of everything that happens to you in your life is your own damn fault. Uh, and even if it's not your fault, take responsibility for it because at least you're in control that way. It's funny that reminds me of a story. I had a big time client that was a travel agent, and one he took his entire company down to Mexico for a retreat, and I happened randomly to be in Mexico at this time, and I was like, hey man, buy me a ticket over to where you are and I'll hang out, we'll do some stuff with your team. And so he
Yeah.
does. I take my girlfriend at the time, and we're asking all of the other people like, oh cool, we rented a car to get here. It was Holbox. It's north of Cancun. How'd you guys get here? And they said, oh, we took a transfer. And we're like, oh. And we're looking at each other and like, I don't know what that means, And then so we walked over to the next person, like, how'd you guys get over here to the island? Oh yeah, yeah, we just took a transfer. What's a transfer? And like every single one of them was like, oh man, we just took a transfer. And like, I don't know what that means. Can you tell me what a transfer is? And they were like, oh, so apparently it's like travel agent lingo for like a short, like a private bus.
Hmm.
Like a private transportation, they call it a transfer. But it's like you take it for granted when you're in the trenches and you're doing the stuff that, I know what the word transfer means, but I had no idea that it was like this is a little private bus.
Right.
And the same thing with, especially with cybersecurity, there's so many words and terms that just go over somebody's head to where like I'm just gonna start tuning out, man. Like just tell me how much I need to pay you. And I probably won't even question that because I don't even know what questions to ask.
Yeah, it's an industry where there's a subculture created where we try to like overly complicate it so nobody else understands it. So like you said, people are afraid to ask questions. It's too complicated. And that keeps people feel insignificant by being, quote, smarter than the people, I think. But it's like a ridiculous scenario because the fact of the matter is, without other industries, there is literally zero need for cybersecurity. We are a support industry to help secure other industries, basically.
Mhm. And so what is just really quick, what is the solution and not just to cybersecurity, but to the people problem that we face when our ego gets in the way and we try to sound smarter than we are? What is the ultimate solution to that?
Well, I wrote about this in my first book, and I think part of it is dissolving your ego, realizing your ego serves some purposes, but typically, as I like to say, your ego is not your amigo. So stop trying to posture, let your ego down. And I think ultimately it's about becoming curious. I think when you're always so worried about your ego and protecting this identity you've made up for yourself, you're not really curious about the person you're communicating with. But if you're curious, you'll get to know them better. Your ego will come down, you'll build better relationships, and you will be able to communicate with them better because you understand their model of the world versus your own model of the world. We like to think everyone has the same model of the world as we do. That's vastly not true. But you don't really start to understand that unless you are curious about somebody, which means asking them questions.
That's right. And so tell us a little bit. I mean, you are probably the most introspective cybersecurity guy I've ever met. And it's awesome. You've got books about this, and it's great. So tell us about who do you serve? Who's a great candidate to reach out and connect with you, and how would you like to connect?
Yeah, my company, Blue Goat Cyber, we help medical device manufacturers secure their medical device and get cleared by the FDA or whichever regulatory body there is across the world. And this could be a startup with just a CEO, which is often an MD that has an idea, and a CTO, and then outsource the development to someone else. So we help those innovations get to the market securely. That is our primary audience from at least Blue Goat Cybers. And then for my books and things, I think it's really anybody trying to get to the next level or trying to improve something in their life and they're not quite sure what to improve. My first book is about 7 steps to develop emotional intelligence for people that are already highly rationally intelligent. And my second book is really about balancing life. I tend to get too hyper focused on a big goal, and I put blinders on and let things fall apart right in front of me, and then justify it as if like this goal is more important than this relationship right in front of me. And then when I hit the goal, I'm automatically on to the next big goal. It's like this rat race I found myself on, this treadmill. So
Mm,
I've that my second book is about finding that balance and with intention and realizing if you pay attention to the micro moments right in front of you, that big goal you're chasing might not even be something you're aligned with anymore.
mm.
But if you have those blinders on, you don't realize that.
Yeah, well said. I just in the interest of time, I'll just say really briefly that you hit on something that I think a lot of people miss is you set expectations at some point in your life that I'm going to be here and I'm going to do this and I'm going to accomplish X. I'm
Mhm.
going to have this kind of car, this kind of house, this kind of husband, wife, whatever. And then as you inch closer to that, what tends to happen is you either stop being that person you thought you needed to be, or you realize you don't need those things in order to be that person. And eh, is there a is there a moment, Christian, that we flip over that we can start being self-aware of that? Because I think that happens a lot more often than most people realize.
For me, I like to reflect on my life in like three areas: my health, my wealth, and my relationships, and ask myself if I'm happy with those three areas. And if I'm not, I try to find out why. I'm not just happy, but fulfilled. And often, like you said, it's the expectations we've made up, and maybe I'm just deciding I'm keep chasing something, or it's the opposite. I sometimes when I do the reflection, I realize I've settled for something when I should be going after something bigger, and I've justified why I've settled. But that requires a lot of inner work. And I think if we tune into ourselves and shut out, at least for me, and shut out the distractions, I know the answers. And if I trust my gut, it's never been wrong. The times I've logically rationalized a different decision than what my body or my gut was telling me, it's always been wrong. So I think it's important to tune into yourself in those areas. And I think we all have the answers inside. We just tend to look externally most of the time.
Yeah, self-awareness is one of the greatest gifts that you can give to yourself. You just got to realize it's already there.
Yes.
So, hey, we're going to wrap up from here. Thanks so much to our guest, Christian Espinosa, for coming on and sharing a little bit of wisdom about how he gets some things done. For those of you who want to learn more about Christian and what he's working on, you can go to bluegoatcyber.com or you can visit his personal website, christianespinosa.com. For those of you who are out there in the gym doing some squats with 300 pounds, or maybe you're uh, wrestling alligators, or you're just hanging around on a bench somewhere enjoying the weather, snap a selfie, tag me at JT Literally. Show me what you do while you're in the do zone. And one more time, if you want daily sales and a calendar full of prospects who actually want what you have, you can download the Fast Track Funnels Blueprint for free at getconversions.net. That's it. Let's get to work.